Hey, you listen to Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM 89.0. As always, this is Grady Hooker, and live on Skype we got Josh.
Hey.
We're going to start off doing Clash of Champions pay-per-view this past weekend. Pre-show match, Mojo Rawley besting his former tag team partner Zack Ryder. Commence the cheering now.
Woo!
As expected, though.
Thank goodness. WWE can only make so many incorrect booking decisions for one show.
Sounds like you're gonna have some complaints as we make our way down the line. But yeah, Mojo here. I don't know if his Titantron video and his music and stuff in Final, they seem a little generic-y to me at the moment. But we'll wait and see how those grow as a singles competitor. Obviously, he's moving away from the gimmick. Zack Ryder's keeping his broski thing that he was already doing, and Mojo ain't hype anymore. He just wants to beat you up, and I ain't gonna get in his way. I feel like when you were referring to bad booking decisions, it's this next match that we have to talk about. Dolph Ziggler's the new US champ.
Is he?
Well, I'll rephrase that. Dolph Ziggler walked out of Clash of Champions with the United States Championship. You know how I was asking you who's gonna defeat Ziggler to win the title? And I was so sure it was a foregone conclusion that he wouldn't win.
I stupidly gave him a 2% chance to do the stupidest thing that they could possibly do, and they went with it.
This is our fault, isn't it?
Yeah.
Shouldn't have even talked about it.
And they compounded and made it even worse by doing the stupid walkout angle.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know.
I could understand him walking out. That's fine. But he didn't have to freaking win the title.
Yeah.
To do that.
I don't know what's going on. Obviously, there were reports beforehand of Dolph Ziggler being on his way out and unhappy with things. By the way, I think there was a stat that for the 8 years of Dolph Ziggler's career, he's held a championship or a briefcase for every single one of those 8 years now. But it seemed a little weird to give him the title and then have him walk out, and that's sort of meshing real life a little bit with the storyline, and it gets a little blurred. The only positive I've heard is the potential of a new United States title design. Other than that, it's been a poop show.
It's possible. I would have rather have just walked out with the title. Just like, I'm out. Screw this, I'm out.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because that could have provided a storyline in and of itself if he decided to come back.
Yeah, and it also would have helped with the new design if that is the direction they wanted to go, because you need a new belt because he took that one.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't understand exactly what's happening in the United States title scene. For now, Dolph Ziggler is still listed on WWE.com as the champion, as well as a current wrestler, so take that for face value though. And I mourn the loss of Baron Corbin and Bobby Roode. Both would have been great champions. I would have taken either of them here, and we got neither of them. Unless we're going to be giving it back to Corbin or Roode. I have to imagine it's going to go to Roode. We're vacating it now.
Who knows? If I'm Baron Corbin, and I'd say the guy just dropped the title and walked out, and I didn't even get my rematch, I demand to be the champion.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes less sense in like an overall storyline, looking at why take the title off Baron just to give it back to Baron. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like if we're going to get that new title as well, giving it to Bobby and fresh starting with him with a fancy looking new belt, I don't know. But yeah, we'll sort of just cry at the finish of the United States title match, and then sort of smile a little bit, not necessarily at the finish, but smile at the match, the Usos New Day, Gable Benjamin, Rusev Day, SmackDown Tag Team Championship match, that also, the finish went the wrong way, but it was a good match. Where's our Rusev Day?
Yeah, definitely. Rusev Day is massively over. And, you know, on SmackDown, the holiday match they had with the New Day was absolutely hilarious.
Yeah. But the thing that really stood out to me with Rusev Day at this pay-per-view was the smiles on their faces. They were so into it. They were loving that reception they got. And honestly, it should have been capped off with them walking away with the championships.
Yeah, it definitely should have. But yeah, I'm hoping their people backstage are listening and hearing the pops they get.
Mm.
And the fact that the crowd wanted an encore.
Yep. Somehow, some way. Aiden English is almost the
These two
opposite
may
of
be the
Elias.
bar next year.
Yeah. Just got to give them a little while.
Yeah.
I don't know. The Usos are not necessarily doing anything with the titles at the moment, but it looks like they're grooming Gable and Benjamin to take them. So I guess that's the way we're going to be going first. Maybe we'll have Gable Benjamin versus Rusev Day afterwards. But sadly, as much as I would love to see it, I do not expect Rusev Day to be prancing around with the championships in the next couple months. Although it would be awesome. SmackDown Women's Division Lumberjack match. Charlotte Flair successfully retains her Women's Championship against Natalya. 10-minute match. Went pretty much as expected in terms of the Lumberjacks on the outside and everything in the middle of the ring.
It was a good match. Charlotte and Natalya obviously have had better, but it was a good match. Charlotte was smart. Was one of the few people that are actually had a brilliant moment. She won the match and got the heck out of the ring.
You're surrounded by a bunch of people who don't like you, and one of them that can ruin your championship reign. If I was the champion and there was anyone walking around with the Money in the Bank briefcase, after every single match, if I could, I would leave. Just get out. Don't stick around, no celebrations.
Exit through the crowd if necessary.
Yep. Just leave. If you don't give them the opportunity, they can't cash in on you. I guess most of the aftermath of this match we'll talk about a little bit more when we get to Raw and we talk about the announcement on there. As for the match itself, the Riot Squad stuck together, the Welcoming Committee stuck together, and Naomi was sort of the standoffish on her own, only person to help Charlotte, exactly as it was portrayed beforehand. Nothing too surprising. And I guess that's also the great phrase to describe the next match as well, the Bludgeon Brothers defeating Breezango just under 2 minutes. Nothing too surprising.
It was exactly what you expect and exactly what needed to happen.
But Breezango,
yeah,
please.
Well, we've got an end to the fashion files.
For now.
Mike Dalton, Tyler Breeze is going to wake up as Mike Dalton again. That was nasty on the outside.
Fashion Files has done so much for the careers of Fandango, Tyler Breeze, Connor, and Victor. I want it to continue, but it definitely needs to take a different vein. Obviously, this entire time they've been trying to solve the case of who attacked or who destroyed the set and everything, and they solved that. It was the Bludgeon Brothers. We're all happy-go-lucky now, but what can we do now? How can we find another way to spin this into another comedic set of segments? And there's plenty of cool options. I'm seeing a lot on Twitter. I think Tyler Breeze may have asked for some on Twitter, but he's getting them. Especially with the Ascension. Just focus on the Ascension a little bit more.
Yeah, they definitely got the shine out of that. As awesome as Breezango was, the Ascension got so much more out of it.
It was, Breezango's segment, but the Ascension went from 0 to 1,000.
Yeah, they stole it every time they appeared.
Yeah, and it was great. Even if it wasn't, because we'd already seen them on Southpaw, Surf Dudes with Attitudes, and whatever the Air Force pilot guys were called. We also had this now, where they were able to be a little more comedic and less copy-paste the Road Warriors. So, yeah, we'll see what the future holds for these guys, but in the near future, the future holds a hell of a lot more for the Bludgeon Brothers. And I wonder how, if at all, we can keep them out of the title scene. If it is going to be Usos, Gable, Benjamin for the future, how are we going to not have the Bludgeon Brothers just run over everybody like they deserve to?
I get the feeling it'll just be like them squashing the local jobbers every week. for a while.
Yeah, just do that for 3 more months.
Occasionally, they'll squash an established team like Breezango.
Mm-hmm.
But mostly it'll be them killing people like Colin Delaney, who apparently made an appearance on 205 Live.
Yeah, I got the thing up. He got attacked by a certain debuting superstar in a match. It didn't last long. I don't think he's contracted. I think they just saw there was a little bit of a pop for him and brought him out a second time, but, you know, we all know how James Ellsworth happened, so I'm never going to say it was a one-off ever again. I kind of also want to see the Ascension, maybe just one night only, you know, come out and try to avenge their best friends and ultimately meet the same fate. But because we've wrapped up the Fashion Police's section, just finish off the Ascension while we're here. Bring them out, have them, and then Breezango might appreciate them a little bit more as best friends.
Well, they did try to warn them what was going to happen to them.
Fair enough. What else we got? We got time for it. We're going to skip over, just because it's the big match to talk about. So we'll skip over. We'll do the WWE Championship match, 23 minutes long. AJ Styles successfully defending his title against Jinder Mahal, as expected.
Yep. I thought it was a pretty good match.
Yeah, it was, I think, would you agree it's the best one of the lot that those two have had? They've had a lot of them.
I would say probably the one in Manchester was probably the best.
True, yeah.
But I thought it was a good match. They have contrasting styles, so it's not going to be for everybody.
Yeah.
But I thought it was a pretty good match and the right decision at the end. We might have one more match between them, probably around first, and then we'll figure out where AJ goes from there. But it's definitely the end of Jinder as champion.
Mm-hmm.
So his prospects are pretty much done.
Am I hearing Rusev versus AJ for the title? Is that what I'm hearing?
I think probably something more along the lines of Sammy AJ.
Sammy AJ, Rusev AJ, they're the same thing, right? Like, I'm hearing the same thing. And what I'm hearing is amazing matches. We are out of time this side of the song, so we'll go into our theme for the week. It's Stephanie McMahon's Welcome to the Queendom.
Now welcome to the Queendom, where the kings bow down.
And you're back with the Wrestling Roundup. FreeFM 89.0, Grady and Josh. As I said, last match here on Clash of Champions. It's a mouthy one. Let me get through it all. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn defeat the team of Randy Orton and Shinsuke Nakamura, with both Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan as special guest referees. Had Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn lost, they would have been fired. The final decision, the pin being counted as a fast count by Daniel Bryan, after Shane McMahon already screwed the team of Owens and Zayn out of a win.
There's definitely a lot to get through here.
There's 1,000 different storylines.
We get to keep the best friends in the company.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. Definitely beginning the tipping point for some sort of storyline between Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon.
Which could still go so many different ways as well.
Yeah. I just hope it doesn't result in Daniel Bryan in the ring.
So you're against the Daniel Bryan ring return?
Yes. I will be like Braun Strowman tipping over an ambulance if he wrestles again.
Can you film that? I'd love to see that. As much as you'd be against it, it does look to be leaning that way. I don't know test-wise, health-wise, any of that stuff, but if Daniel Bryan wasn't already in this situation where he failed all of these medical tests, I would, in a heartbeat, say that this will end in a match between these two people. It's a textbook between the two. As to what we actually do because of all of the health complications, I don't know. We've already had so many clashes with Owens and Zayn and McMahon that I don't even know if Daniel Bryan could have a champion. Like, obviously not a title bout champion, but a champion to come in and fight for him against Shane. I don't know. I don't know where we go from here if it is not an in-ring match.
I don't know either. Putting my personal feelings aside, I think it would probably end up being Daniel Bryan versus Shane McMahon.
With one of their, both of their jobs on the line or something. Throw a stipulation in there because you gotta, right? Can't have a plain old vanilla match. But as you said, we get to keep Owens and Zayn around. But Daniel Bryan is siding with them, so we could also have a 6-man, I guess, there. With Bryan, Owens, Zayn taking on Orton, Nakamura, McMahon. It is holding up Nakamura a little bit more, but there's not too much else for him to fall into, so holding him up, at least until the Rumble, might be a good idea. But yeah, this match was good as well. I guess we sort of skipped over the match quality for this match. Antics aside, good match.
You just knew that somebody was screwing somebody. That's the only thing you knew going into that match.
Yeah. And it turned out everybody's screwing everybody. Multiple times it was a fast count, a slow count, an argument between the referees. The splitting it down the middle idea I definitely found very novel, had a good chuckle at.
Hey, that's my side! I count on that side!
I half wanted them to dig under the ring and find some gaffer tape, and just gaffer tape a line down the middle. It does beg the question, do you count the pin if the shoulders are on your side, or if the majority of the bodies are on your side? I gotta think shoulders. But yeah, it also, what was it? It was, his shoulders were down, triangle. His shoulders were down, triangle. Yeah, pretty much as you expected in terms of the double special guest referees and arguing and everything. And if you were to sit down and ask me what's happening going forward with these 4 guys, I wouldn't be able to answer you. Other than that they're going to continue to be in some form of power struggle. So we finally got through all of Clash of Champions. We can now talk about what happened on Raw in a super condensed format. Finn Balor, he took on The Miz Taraj in a handicap match. Got a little bit of help from an old friend.
Yeah, it was the most interesting way to introduce Tommy.
It was an interesting way to introduce a 205 Live competitor.
Yeah, because it's only the second or third time that a 205 Live person was wrestling with a non-205 Live person. Although technically he hadn't debuted on 205 Live yet, so there's some.
Yeah, I guess you could argue he wasn't technically a cruiserweight just yet.
But they definitely need to do that more. They need to do more mingling between the divisions. I say if Roman shows up next week, have him challenged by somebody from the 205 Live division.
Why not, right?
Just for something different.
Biff and Gulak. Everybody loves Gulak.
Gabba Gulak.
Yep. Talking about Gulak, Cedric Alexander, it happened, as expected. Enzo's got his next challenger.
Yep, it was a good match. I'm fine with Alexander winning the match. I just hope that they don't waste Alexander here to prop up Amore more.
Well, Amore's a little bit busy with Nia Jax, so I don't know what's going to be happening. We also got Dean Ambrose, Shield, The Bar, facing off for the millionth time at this point.
Well, we won't be having them face off again for 9 months.
So I'm going. Dean Ambrose underwent tricep surgery. So 9 months is what you heard?
It could be up to 9.
It seemed out of nowhere. But I guess if there is a time when this sort of stuff happens, it's called the Road to WrestleMania. We're a couple weeks early. But it's that time of year now, right? Everybody's starting to get tired. Everybody's starting to get injured.
Yeah. Apparently they had to rewrite the whole show because of it, so they could write him off. I'll give them props. They really sold it really well that it could be a work.
It's not really until the WWE.com article comes out, I guess, and it's all serious and truthy that you're all taken aback, and it's like, oh, yep. Is there anything else before we get to the big one? The Revival, they're back.
Yeah, speaking of injuries waiting to happen.
Which one this time, though?
Let's injure them both at the same time. Just to get that out of the way.
There we go. Perfect solution, right? Just like twist their ankles on entrance or something. Elias decides to jam himself into the 2018 Royal Rumble, currently 100% chance of winning.
Well, he was the first entrant. He was the first official entrant.
The only one as far as Wikipedia is concerned right now still, so, if you're the only guy that enters, you gotta win, right?
Yeah.
I do wonder if he'll come in 1 or 2 and play a song before the match, or maybe he'll come down in the middle numbers and stop to play a song for the entire length until the next guy comes out. There's plenty of options for Elias at the moment, but I don't rate his chances of winning very highly.
No, wouldn't make much sense.
No. That being said, I didn't rate Dolph Ziggler's chance of winning the US title very highly either. Someone else I don't think will win at the Rumble, Kane in the Universal Championship. Braun's also there, but...
Yeah, we got a triple threat match.
Kane wins, right? Just
No.
complete and utter swerve. Kane pins Braun. Kane Universal Champion.
That'd be interesting to see them end with that, but Brock will retain.
Roman's not ready to take the title off him just yet?
Not quite there.
Okay.
And by the way, Roman doesn't need to win the Rumble to face Brock at WrestleMania.
Just have the Rumble winner be SmackDown?
Yep.
Problem solved. There's a lot of Rumble talking. A lot of rumblings about the Rumble. And we got a second one this year.
Yeah, the ladies get a Rumble. And
As-
I literally called it 10 minutes before they announced it.
The, how many would that have been? 7? No, I can't count. 5 new competitors coming up from NXT didn't give it away. Until Stephanie comes out and makes her announcement and everybody cheers and hugs and claps and everybody's happy.
I literally said, just minutes before it said it's time to announce the female Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
And then Stephanie comes out and announces the female Rumble.
I don't know if this is WWE compatible. I have not loaded that up just yet. Wikipedia says all 10 of the people in the ring in the segment during Raw, as well as Naomi over on SmackDown. But I assume most, if not all, of the women's roster is gonna find their way. Sorry, obviously not Alexa
What I
Bliss.
understand, the only people not to be involved will be the champions. And they're going to call up some NXT women just for one night and then send them back. And then there'll probably be a couple of legends, quote unquote. They'll come in.
A couple of previous superstars.
We'll probably get Trish and Lita.
Yep.
I'd personally like to see them go with people like Ivory and Molly Holly and unexpected people like that.
Got to give it time. We don't want to blow our load on every single possible legend that could come back in the first year.
And you know what? I think Naomi will end up being the Kofi of the women's Royal Rumble.
What a way to put it. Yeah, I could see it. It makes sense to highlight one of your current superstars in that position and not just bring in someone who's going to be doing nothing but flips and then push them back down. So yeah, I'll let you have it. She seems like the most likely looking at it. Yeah, there's plenty of interesting and new opportunities going forward as well, much like the Money in the Bank match, where this is now going to be open, presumably to be a yearly event, just giving the woman a lot more storyline potential and a lot of builders other than I hate you, you hate me, let's have a match for the title. Because, if the title's not involved, then it's not a match.
I've also heard rumors of a possible debut in the match, too.
A proper debut, not a temporary call-up?
Yeah. I've heard rumors that possibly that Ronda Rousey may be involved in the Royal Rumble match.
Heard them too, don't want to believe them. Mainly because rumors of her debut in the match generally come with rumors of her winning the match. So I like to ignore those and pretend they don't happen. That being said, James Ellsworth won the first ever women's Money in the Bank match, so hey, Ronda Rousey can win the first ever women's Royal Rumble match.
Yeah, as of right now, they haven't said there's anything on the line.
Most people are going to assume, much like the WWE and the Universal shot.
Yeah.
Let me see if...
Yeah, I've heard if Ronda is involved, it's going to be to set up a storyline with her and Stephanie.
Okay.
So she may not win.
True. All it says here, that I can find is, will Naomi reign supreme at the historical contest? Who will be the next superstar to seize that moment for a chance to book a ticket to WrestleMania 34 in the monumental bout? So they're definitely booking a ticket to a WrestleMania something. What that something isn't necessarily explained, but I'm going to assume it's a title shot, because most of the time the woman will be featured at WrestleMania anyway. So we'll wait and see what happens there, but fingers crossed we get something good out of this and not a thrown together higgledy-piggledy mess. And maybe one of the Bella twins will appear. Radio.
I want to see it just to see the internet meltdown.
Let one of them win. There you go, sorted. Well, that's all we got time for this week. It's been great talking to you.
EB.
Visit our Facebook page, facebook.com/wrestling radio, or our Twitter page, twitter.com/wrestling radio, and we'll see you next week.